What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Underdog Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Nolan Skinny, alongside Antonio Ferrari, Salestrina. Gentlemen, how the hell are we?
Pretty good. How are you?
Wow.
Pretty good. We haven't talked in a minute.
That was a week well, Antonio. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna add to that.
Yeah, there's nothing. You just
we
start falling down
are.
a well.
Yeah, imagine. We haven't talked in a minute, so I figured now would be a good time, as it is the lull period in our lives. Pretty much, like, sports is so closely related to our lives. Like, when there's no sports, I'm just like, what? Like, I'm so bored.
So
And then,
I mean, I watch the Yankees every day and then like get pissed about them, and then bark about them the
that
next
doesn't
day,
count,
and
and
then,
you know that.
then I just watch them again.
is
Baseball doesn't count.
the summer the most overrated season? That's the real question.
No,
I think people.
Because it's
I
not
think.
cold.
I think silent
Sports
majority
doesn't
would
make the
say
winter good.
no. It doesn't make the season any better.
I don't know. I separate those two things. I fucking hate winter, but I love football. But I hate winter.
I hate winter too. No, I hate winter. Winter's the
I mean,
worst.
yeah. If you think about it, this is the best time of the year for there to be a lull in sports.
Yeah.
If it was
that is
February
fair.
right now, like I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, if it was February and no sports on, we would kill ourselves. That's just how it would be, unfortunately.
Like I would not know what to do.
You can't go outside, and then there's nothing on TV.
I would be lost at sea.
Yeah, no, I agree. Summer's definitely not overrated.
So what do we want to tackle first?
I was just gonna say, segue into Antonio's Yankees. I mean, it's just you guys are sorry. More nights than not, you guys are sorry lately.
So their cleanup batter is they're like I saw
JD
a stat
Davis.
today. Oh my god. I looked at the lineup yesterday and I was like, what am I looking at? Gleyber Torres is leading off tonight.
Whenever Aaron Boone goes on that show with John Boy or whatever, my first suggestion on YouTube is always that show, and I always watch it just because, like, I love the awkwardness between, like,
because they ask tough questions.
Well, they do and they don't, but then sometimes they'll like ask a question and Boone will just be like fuck you, basically. Like, I'm not answering that, and then they'll be like, whoa, buddy, like we were just asking. Like, he gets a little snippy. He knows the pressure's on. I mean, if he doesn't get it done this year, I don't see how they bring him back next year. Like, and I've said that for like 2 or 3 years now. But this is it. This is the end of the road. Like, have Soto.
Fire him.
They have to.
I say it's pointless to fire Boone and not Cashman.
Yeah, I mean, if one goes, both goes.
Realistically changes. Yeah, if you fire Boone and Cashman's still there.
I guess, but at the same time, Boone does nothing for me. I think he's a horrible manager, to be honest.
I think he's a horrible manager. I think he's fine. I think he just goes through stretches just like the team does. Like, sometimes when they're playing good, I'm impressed with the way he manages, but in crisis, he is admittedly, he's not a good manager.
So when things go bad, he can't function. So
right, no, exactly. But when things are going good, it seems like he's making the right moves with his pitching, and using his bullpen guys wisely. The lineup's good, but then once the team starts to play bad, it's like he goes down with them. I don't know.
I don't know. He seems way too up and down to be like a good manager. It's just like like you said, some games it's like, he pitched this guy in the seventh. He pitched this guy in the seventh, or he pinch hit this guy, like, and that worked out, or blah blah blah. Then he'll go through 2 weeks in a row where he gets ejected 4 times. Then he's like, oh, this doesn't like blah blah blah. Like, it's like, dude, you can't be just like getting thrown out in the first inning of the game. Like, just because your team's done bad 2 days in a row, you're not getting thrown out in the first inning. I hate when he gets ejected more than any other manager I've ever seen. Oh, other than Lou Piniella. Like, that's literally it. Like, he just loves that.
He also loves saying, like, when the team gets like 3 hits one day, he'll be like, well, I thought we had some really competitive at bats.
It's like, what? I would hope every at bat's a competitive at bat in Major League.
I don't get it. And there's rumors about trading for Jazz Chisholm. Like, What do they need him for? He's not that good. He's really not that good.
He's better than players you have right now.
He's better than Gleyber Torres, sure, but like if he's batting 250 right now, then give him 3 weeks with the Yankees, that batting average will be down to 235. I promise you. That's just what happens.
Yeah.
A 250 guy doesn't excite me. It's not like he is like redeeming that with power either. He has 12 home runs.
So what do you want to see at the deadline for them?
I forget to say his name. If that Refnigo guy, whatever, the guy in the Angels.
Rengifo?
Yeah. What do you mean? He's batting 300.
Wow, he's had one good season. Let's all clap. Like,
well,
he's had one half of one good season.
If they're going to make a move for an infielder, he's one of the infielders on the market. They need
so you'd
another
rather have
guy.
Rengifo than Jazz?
Huh?
You'd rather have
Rengifo? Jazz? Rengifo's a better hitter than Jazz.
You love a good like 299 hitter. Like that's your favorite thing ever.
That's what they need, Sal. They're hitting home runs. Soto and Judge
players bat 299 and then go over there and then bat 200. That's just what happens. That's like 3-point shooters going to play with LeBron and then them not making shots. It's literally the same thing. Like
if he's a 299 hitter somewhere else, then he'll probably
be a 260 hitter on the Yankees.
And that would be like the third best batting average in the team right now. So
but he hits home runs. Like, I don't know. There's no saving that team because you guys will get to the postseason, you might win a round, and then you'll do the same thing you guys always do and not be able to hit, no matter who's on your team. You could have.
Oh, I know.
You could have 9 fucking Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, and you guys still would somehow manage to lose. I don't get it.
Stan also did the thing again this year where he starts off really hot, and you're like, "Wow, Stan's back," and then gets hurt, like running the bases. Yeah. And then whenever he comes back from an injury in the middle of the season, he's awful. He's always so awful.
He looks like an elderly man when he rounds the bases. I've never seen anyone run the bases slower.
Oh, this year they definitely told him to just like, dude, don't even run. It's not worth it. But he got hurt anyway.
That's ridiculous. Baseball players are the worst.
Elderly.
He's so elderly. No, he's like, like he has a walker when he goes around second base, like with the tennis balls. Like he just can barely even move. Like
that's why he always hit so many home runs. He didn't want to ever run the bases. He just wanted to do it at his pace.
Well, that year he hit 59 home runs. He was batting like 330 until the All-Star break. Then he finished with like a 290 average. But he used to hit for like 280 plus average on the Marlins. And then
he went to the Yankees. I want to be like, oh yeah, the Red Sox, like blah blah blah, and now they just like collapse to start the second half. So I won't be surprised if they are sellers next week. I won't be at all.
I don't know. What are they gonna sell?
That's a good question, actually.
Because like all their pitchers,
Kenley, I don't know. Kenley?
That's the only thing. That's the only one I could imagine selling if they want to plan on selling. But like everybody that's playing good for them is like really young, and their pitchers.
Yeah, they're not trained. Yeah, they're not trained like Raphael or like anyone like that or Houck or anything.
No, not Duran or anything. Yeah, they're gonna hold on.
Durant's had a phenomenal season. Phenomenal. He's good. He's been great. He's been really good. I've been very impressed with him. I mean, get Story back next year. Maybe get one more hitter and a pitcher. I think we're close. I don't think we're that far off, to be honest.
They definitely.
Maybe I sound crazy. Maybe
There's just a lot of
definitely make the playoffs.
They should. I think they should. I think their pitching, I think, has been better than the Royals, but like they're kind of hovering around that same spot right now. Because it's gonna
I like the Royals. The Royals have played well this year.
Royals. I like them a lot too. The Twins have been playing well too. The Central's surprisingly very good.
I hate the Twins. They're the same thing every year. Like it's the same thing.
But like this is what they do.
Ugh.
They'll be fine in the regular season.
They're the Vikings. It's the same thing. They're both Minnesota teams. Do the same exact thing every year.
So, like,
9-8, make the playoffs. Like, wow.
The Yankees or Orioles will have the top wild card spot. So like then it just comes down to Royals, Red Sox, Twins. Rays are only 2 games out. Like the Tigers
do not want to see the Red Sox in a play-in game, mister. I know you don't.
No, I don't.
We kind of own your tush lately. We own your tushy. We own your tushy lately.
Yeah, even last year when they were terrible. Or I mean, both teams were terrible, but like
Your
still.
Tushy. Tushy is so funny.
They're terrible against the Mets too.
So who comes out of the AL? Are you gonna tell me the Houston Astros? Because I feel like you tell me this every year.
I mean, now they're in first place again, so like I just feel like.
Are you really gonna say the Astros?
No.
Say the Yankees, dude. Say the Yankees.
He wants to. I
think the Yankees beat the Orioles in a 7-game series right now. Depending on, they've played the Orioles well this year. They had that one game where they got killed.
So
the season series is pretty split. Their pitching is not too far off from each other. I think the Yankees definitely have higher pitching potential than the Orioles. We'll see what the Orioles do at deadline, but I mean, it's not like you look at the Orioles lineup, they have their guys that can hit, but it's not like they beat the Yankees on a batting average front.
Is the AL awful? The AL might be terrible now that I think about it.
Yeah, have you seen the AL wildcard race? There's a ton of teams in the mix.
Literally every team is in the mix, and then the team that we thought was going to be good, the Cubs, is actually pretty bad.
Yeah, no, they fell off. They definitely fell off. But the Mets, I wonder what their situation is going to be next week.
I mean, Grimace should throw out the first pitch every game. That's just what should happen.
No, but I don't know if they're going to sell guys or what.
They're buyers. At this point, they're buyers for sure. I think personally. I don't.
They're still dude. They're just as talented as any other team in the NL. Still, if things come together, they're going to get Senga. Yeah. They're going to get Senga back.
If they did in the playoffs, I don't know why they can't win a round or two.
I mean, their pitching is people don't realize how good the Mets pitching staff is. Really still, because there's not Verlander and fucking Max Scherzer on there hyping them up that much. And then you look at their staff and they're and you're like, oh, Quintana, Senga's coming back. Fucking Luis Severino's been fine this year.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah, that honestly didn't surprise me at all. I knew he was
really bad. He was really bad last year.
Yeah, no, last year at the Yankees, he was awful. But I've seen him pitch really good before. So some guys, when they leave New York, it just happens.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's still in New York, but he's not. Yankees. And
if you were on your head, who comes out of the AL? That's a really tough question, to be honest.
It is, because the Mariners are really falling off.
Really, yeah, really hard.
Cleveland's pretty fucking good.
I guess you banked on Baltimore making a big trade for a pitcher next week, and you say Baltimore. That would be my pick, personally. Yeah. I've heard Crochet or Scooble to them, but I think Crochet might be a little not unproven, but I think it's just too big of a price tag for what he's done. I think Scooble is the answer there, and I think they give up a big package to that Scooble, to be honest.
So what's funny is the Tigers are a game over 500 too. 51 and 50.
Yeah, they don't need to be sellers. You're right. But I mean, if the Orioles are offering 3 of their top prospects for him, it's how do you say no at that point?
I was gonna say, I don't know. Sure, they have a winning record, and yeah, they're probably 5 or 6 games out of a wild card spot. But how realistic is that with the teams that are in the mix? And is there really a point?
Yeah, it's what, you get to the playoffs and lose.
I get I get you're competitive, but I mean, a lot of the L's.
But then, how far away are they again from making the playoffs if they trade Struble? Now you're 2 more years away if you're them. So I get maybe not trading him too, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know how much. Realistically, I don't know how much action there's going to be this deadline.
Oh, you think it's a quiet one?
Might be, because there's just a lot of mid-level teams that have some good young players that I'm not so sure teams find it worth to trade away.
Well, kind of like you said too, the NL is so middle heavy, where a lot of those teams aren't going to be buyers or sellers, maybe. So it's that eliminates a third of the league.
The Pirates probably aren't going to do anything, even though they're in the mix. But
well, yeah, you would think a team like that would definitely be a seller, but then it's all right, you got Steens, you got what's his name, the other kid, Jacob Jones or whatever, who's been pitching really well, and then their offense has been better than usual. So if they did in Steens and Jones 1-2, that's a decent little 1-2 punch you got right there. Maybe they do something. You never know.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch.
you saw the Diamondbacks last year. It's like, just get in and see what happens. Like, even the Rangers were a wild card team too.
Yep.
So I don't know. I guess Baltimore would be my pick out of the AL right now. I know it's early, but
I think
Baltimore.
that's the safest pick.
Yeah, Baltimore, and then it's gotta be Philly, no? Realistically.
Yeah, right now Philly looks like.
I mean, Philly Dodgers would be a great NLCS. But then it's the Dodgers, so they won't get there somehow.
Yeah,
I hated that so much.
I get saying that, but at the same time, like, it seems like you should be able to automatically put the Dodgers in like an NLCS, but
then they lose to the worst wild card team in the NL somehow.
This could be a year that the Mets like beat the Dodgers or something like that.
Yeah, and then it's like Mets Phillies in the NLCS, and we're like, ew, that's gross.
Yeah. The Braves are nothing this year. I know, like, they're the top wildcard team, but I don't really see them making much noise.
Is the key for them like Acuna gets hurt and then they win the World Series?
Yeah,
Acuna gets hurt and then they win the World
unless
Series.
they go on a run and it's like, oh, so Acuna has to be out for an injury every year if they want to win a championship.
It's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
next week. I think next week should be interesting. Like you said, it might be quiet, but I think there has to be like one or two big.
Well, yeah, there's gonna be
names.
I'm sure there'll be big ones, but
we'll see.
Yeah, it's been a weird season.
No one loves their baseball talks.
Hey, I just let you guys go, man.
Hey, Nolan.
It's totally okay with me.
The old man yelling at clouds for 20 minutes.
Screaming into the void. No, I like it. I mean, I always, you know this, I always loosely pay attention to baseball, like who's good, who's bad.
You like playoff baseball. You will sit there for a playoff baseball game and get into it, I feel like.
I would, but I would never watch it on my own.
Fair.
Because that's when football's going on, hockey's starting up.
Yeah.
There's not enough room for me. If it was going on right now, like if playoff baseball was going on right now, I would watch every single game.
So do we petition the league to shorten it up to like end in August?
Yes. It should always be that way. It should only be like 100 games, and then.
But cold
playoffs.
Baseball is so fun.
It's not.
Yeah,
fun.
April baseball where they can't even hit the ball out of the infield is the best. I love that.
No. October.
That's even worse.
So bad. I get September baseball is really good. Like I like that whole thing. But like imagine if the playoffs started right now and went to like the first week of September.
That'd be hot.
That'd be so hot.
Yeah.
And right around and then hand the baton to the NFL, and they don't even have to compete with the NFL. I feel like that's a big problem for them, is having to compete in the with the NFL like during playoff time. It's got to be they're
not compared to the NFL, but the MLB has been doing a lot better the last 2 years. Like very good numbers wise.
It's still dog shit though compared to the NFL.
Compared to the NFL, yes.
How much of a boost do you think that would be if the playoffs are going on right now?
20%.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely like people aren't as likely to sit down and just like. I'm pretty sure TV numbers in general go down in the summertime.
But
well, like if you said there was like fucking Red Sox, Yankees wild card playing game tonight, like we would not be doing a podcast. We'd be somewhere watching it.
Well, yeah, no, of course.
I would 100%, and that's coming from someone who hates baseball with a passion. I would watch it. I would watch it.
Or even baseball with a passion.
Okay, I don't hate baseball with a passion, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't watch regular season baseball. If the playoffs started right now and we had a play-in game with the Yankees and Red Sox, I would 100% watch it. Because there's nothing else to fucking watch.
Even if it was like Yankees, like whatever Royals, I'd still sit down and watch it right now. Like that still would be good. Like a 1 or a 3 game series or whatever, like I'd sit down and watch it, no problem.
Yeah.
Juan Soto hit solo home run in the bottom of the third. Yeah, he's hot right now.
Yeah. Then the playoffs comes, and then he's gonna be bad.
We don't know that yet.
We don't. We'll see what happens. My imaginary dollars are not on the Yankees making the World Series. I can tell you that much for sure.
Yeah, I won't be betting that either.
NHL, Nolan? Surprised that the Panthers took it, or not really?
No, I mean, I said in the beginning that they definitely could take it and that they were just playing different. And I think, man, what a story that final was, though. I mean, if
What
Edmonton,
a disappointing outcome.
I mean, that was the most NHL way it could have ended. It was them coming back from a 3-0 and losing in the 7th game. When the whole world was rooting for Edmonton, I think it would have been so great if Edmonton won. But at the same time, Florida definitely deserved to win. They were the best team.
Did Connor McDavid deserve the Conn Smythe?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I think
100%.
he was breaking Wayne Gretzky playoff records. I mean, anytime you do that, and he was the only reason why they even got that far.
Yeah.
The way he was playing, Leon Draisaitl was a ghost. I don't even know where he went. He just stopped scoring goals.
What happened to him, bro?
I don't know if he was playing.
He didn't even have a good regular season.
No, he had a great regular season. He had 60 goals. I mean, I think
that's not that good.
Yeah, that's not great. I think he just stopped scoring. He just disappeared. I don't know if he was playing through injury or what, but I think Connor McDavid, and I was really surprised at how Jeff Skinner played. I feel like he was really standing on his head. I was surprised at how well he played.
He did have a better finals than he did, I feel, rest of the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, he stepped up and he did exactly what they needed him to. Obviously not as good in the first 3 games, but he didn't let it get to him. And he played really well. Yeah, and then
games 4, 5, and 6, he only gave up 3 goals or something, 4 goals. It wasn't even that comparatively speaking to his first 3 games, it was night and day. So
yeah, and game 4 they won 1,000,000-0, and we said it too. You got to be careful with that. It's okay to have that game, but you cannot give up too much momentum. You can't make them believe too much that they can beat you 3 times in a row. And that's exactly what they kind of did.
Me and Robbie were together, and once it was 5-1, we kind of gave each other that look. We're like, does this mean something? Is this more than just one game, type of thing? And then it kind of turned into that. It almost did, but
yeah, it was one of those things where they were, because it's one thing when you have that sort of game and it gets to be 5-1 or whatever. As long as you're still playing hard and being competitive, it's one thing. But they totally laid down. You can't totally lay down, because then it's you plant the seed in their head oh, we can beat these guys. You're not invincible. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that carries the momentum into game 5, and then when it becomes a 3-2 series, you get a little bit more antsy. You know what I mean? Because they know anything can happen in a game 7. Anything.
Well,
can
yeah,
happen.
and they got the game 6 at home too. So it was all right, you did it in your home barn, and then you just bring it back there, and hopefully you win the game 7. But
you can't have a stinker like that at home.
Yeah, it was not meant to be.
The Panthers were terrible at home all year and all playoffs. That's why I knew Edmonton had a pretty good shot going into game 7, but Florida was just, they woke up. Florida woke up in game 7. It took them 3 games, but they finally woke back up and played like themselves. And you could just tell from the first period.
Deep down, I knew they were just gonna win that night, and that I was gonna get fucked.
From the first period, I was like, "Oh, they're winning this game," because they looked like how they did for those first 3 games.
Antonio's so funny because there'll be a sporting event on, and he'll just be like, "Oh, I know this is gonna happen because God hates me, and the team I'm rooting for always just does the opposite thing of what I want him to do." During the World Cup or during the Euros, he'd be like, "Oh, I know Portugal's coming back and Ronaldo's getting a penalty or something."
Yeah, no, I've seen that happen a million times in my life. Because it's always the softest call in the box, and then the refs are just "Aw." It's always a 50-50 call, and they just give him the benefit of the doubt because it's Ronaldo, and they're like, "Here."
Well, I think you're starting from that one. You're starting from that one Real Juventus game where it wasn't a foul from the back, and they were just "Yep, PK," and they won it 4-3 or whatever, and you're
so bad, dude.
Yeah.
Then he went to Juventus right after that.
Huh?
Then he went to Juventus like that summer.
And then he did nothing in the Champions. He had one good Champions League game for them. Yeah.
He shit on them in the Champions League just to go to them, to have them be shit in the Champions League. Yeah. It's kind of fucked up.
And now they're bad.
They're bad.
Yeah.
Inter and AC Milan are both better.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the Milan teams. I like AC.
Yeah. What about the Euros and Copa? What do we think about that?
I'm not shocked Argentina won. Like, that just seemed like it had to happen, to be honest. Like,
I mean, USA was terrible. So
good. We needed Berhalter out. Like, that had to happen. And I would rather that happen in the Copas, and then we can get to 2026 with a fresh coach than like this whole like, oh, Berhalter's not that bad of a coach, and like we won a couple games and blah blah blah. They've scored 3 open play goals in like their last like 6 matches. It's something ridiculous. Like their offense is putrid. Like, it's so bad. And it's like their offensive pieces are good. Like, Reina's good, Pulisic obviously. They gotta figure out their striker situation. But like,
I mean, Weah getting a red card was not good.
Well, right. It's
not
like
ideal.
They just kind of play down their competition too, to where like years ago they'll go and draw England, right? And hang with them the whole game, and then they'll go and lose to fucking Panama. It's like, and then so after the Panama and Bolivia games, they go into Uruguay and they're just rattled, you know?
Yep.
It never felt like they were gonna win that game. Never after that Panama one.
I mean, I wish they played better, yes, but I'm not upset about it, because if they get to the knockout round, they're not firing Berhalter, because they barely fired Berhalter as it was. So I'm not upset about the performance, to be honest. But
I mean, I didn't agree with the way he was fired. It was the most American, stuck up way for someone to get fired. But then at the same time, like, he doesn't do it for me. He doesn't have like the same fire, and it's like, this group is probably the most talented group that they've had in U.S. soccer in a long time, or at least maybe ever. And it's like, we have such an important thing coming up in the World Cup. They have to have a good showing. They have to make it past the group stage. Anything else will be a complete failure.
I don't only think they need to make it to the knockout round. They have to win a knockout game. It's not just get out of your group. Like congrats. Let's have a round of applause. You were top 2 out of 4. Like, congrats. Like, no, you're going there. You're on home soil. You're winning a knockout stage game, and you're putting some oomph into it. Like, it's not like this. Like, oh, great job. Like, you got to the round of 16. Like, everybody gets a medal. Like, no. This team is better than that. This is a top 20. This is probably a top 20 soccer nation in the world, I would say. They have to be.
Well, they were number 11th, like, ranked going into the Copa, and Uruguay was 14.
So they should be winning a knockout stage game, or they have the capability to win a knockout stage game. So,
like, they're saying they're just as good as like Uruguay, and fucking like Italy's down like around them in the rankings, and
Italy looked horrible.
They looked so bad.
They have the same problem the U.S. does. They have the exact same issue.
Right. So, like, to finish,
they could have played
a point before we get to the Euros. But it's like, you don't, in 2026, do you know what you can't let happen? You can't let fucking Canada outshine you on our home soil.
Well, Jesse Marsch was available for a coach, and we didn't want him. So, former Premier League manager, but whatever.
I think
we had Klinsmann, and nobody liked Klinsmann, but at least Klinsmann had some sort of style.
I liked him.
Yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of Klinsmann's, but there was structure and there was a style of play there. With Berhalter, it's just like kick it upfield. Like, it's like, okay, then what?
Yeah, they don't have like an identity. It's almost like they're just expecting Pulisic to do everything, and no one else is carrying their own weight. It's like, there are other good players on this team. McKenna's really good. Weah's really good. Reina's really good. We have a great goalie in Matt Turner. It's like, there are other people that can step up on this team, and it's like, they're just not doing it. And you could tell it starts with the coach, because there's no identity. There's no, you're right. There's no style of play. At least with Klinsmann, like we had a decently talented team, and they played to their talent. Like they got it done. They got to a knockout stage game, and then they played a tough team in Belgium, and they ended up losing. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
I want like a Premier League coach, or I want like a European coach. I don't want some like American MLS style, like, oh, you got the best. Like you get like Bruce Arena or something. It's like, no, dude. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's not the answer. That's not even close to the answer. Like,
them asking Jurgen Klopp was such a Hail Mary, and I'm so glad that they actually did do it. Because if they didn't, it would have been like, why didn't you even try? And I'm so glad that they at least tried.
That's literally like going up to the hottest girl at the bar and just being like, please. And she's like,
you gotta shoot your shot, bro. You gotta shoot your shot. You have to. The worst he could say is no.
She's gonna say no. Yeah, you know she's gonna say no, but you're just like,
but she like kind of respects you did
it. Yeah.
But if you did bag her though,
yeah, that's true. No, if Klopp was their manager, they would win. They wouldn't win, but they would go like very far.
Semi-final.
But he's the type of person. He's the type of person though. Like, I don't think they would win the World Cup, but they would definitely. You're right. Make a stab at it, and it's like, I mean, at least then he could be a turning point in our whole organization of USA Soccer, where like we could actually build on something rather than build it up just to get right there and then it all get tore down again. And it's like, dude, if we don't get it past the group stage in the World Cup, we're gonna be set back for years because of that.
Well, I also think he would come in. Go ahead.
If Morocco can make a semifinal, the United States can.
It's a very good point. I think Klopp would come, like, if it was Klopp, I think Klopp would come in too and just be like top to bottom. He'd be like, what the fuck are you, like, this is not a soccer organization. He'd be like, what is this? This is like 11 monkeys running around in circles. Like, let's be a little bit better than this. Like, come on. There would be so much organization at that point. Whereas, like, again, you get an MLS coach in there and he'll be like, hey, you know what's a great idea? Take the ball and clear it when it gets near you. It's like, what? It's like they love just direct, like, just send the ball over the top. It's like, all right, there's no tactics there. Like,
yeah, we need the thing about it too is like it's such a tall task, and it's like I kind of get it in the sense of like they need a coach to come in and like not only make the team good, but they have to make so many decisions that steer the whole direction of how the country treats soccer and like its youth programs. I kind of get how it's such a tall task and why we haven't like found that person yet. It's like we keep like inching closer and closer, and it's like, oh yeah, maybe by 2035 we'll have it down, but it's like we have to take a big step, and we haven't taken that big step yet. And I feel like that's what needs to happen. Like if we made a surprise run to like the semifinal of the World Cup, like that would be so amazing for our soccer. Like it would be insane. But like, we haven't had that juice yet. We need someone to come in to that is willing to take on such a big task. And Jurgen Klopp definitely would have been the perfect person.
What's bigger for the program than a home World Cup? Like that'll drum up as much support as anything else. Like, so
if they go far in front of their own fans and there's like kids watching on TV, like,
all right, let me ask you this. Is it more likely they reach the semifinal or lose in the knockout round?
Losing the knockout round.
Yeah, losing the knockout round.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, we've seen big runs before, so.
And you're forgetting too. I think there's one more round, isn't there now?
I think you're right.
There?
Because it's double. It's going to be double the teams.
Why?
This is going to be a round of 32.
I think so, right? They're doubling.
What
the
is
amount
what
of
is
teams.
this? The fucking the March Madness? Yeah. What? It's like, oh, we have the Sweet 16 in 2 days. Like, what?
I mean, if the U.S. gets a favorable path, though, if they qualify for the knockout round, then sure it's possible.
Rank the following.
It's 48 teams, so not double.
The following: March Madness, the World Cup, the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. 1, 2, 3.
World Cup number 1.
Wow.
I honestly could. You could make an argument for World Cup being number one. I would. I think.
Dude, I have a hard time picking between March Madness and the divisional round too.
I'd say March Madness second, divisional round third.
I am gonna agree with you.
The World Cup is so special just because it happens every 4 years.
Yeah.
You wanna know my answer? It's March Madness one, but like it has to be. Is it not?
I get that. I get it.
I understand the pick.
March Madness is a close second.
It's March Madness World Cup divisional round in my mind.
Yeah, and this shouldn't give off the impression that the divisional round of the NFL playoffs isn't that special. No,
the divisional round of NFL playoffs. Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
but I mean, just like there's nothing like March Madness anticipation, like the build up to it, and then there really is nothing like anticipation for the World Cup.
What's the best? Is that the best weekend of the NFL season? That has to be, right? Or is it week one?
Week one's pretty sick.
No, it's the divisional round. Sometimes, depending on the year, wild card weekend also is pretty hot.
Yeah. I don't know. Week one gets me
one more game.
Week one gets me hard too. I won't lie. Of
course.
It's just because of the wait is over. Like, you know what I mean? Like the anticipation.
And your fantasy teams are playing.
Oh my god.
You've edged for like you've edged for like 20 weeks, and then it all comes out when Scott Hansen's like 7 hours of commercial-free football.
Literally, like go through 2 months or like probably about a month of, you know, if you draft your fantasy football team in early August.
You're staring at it like this every day. You're like, oh my god.
Every single day. You're like bored. You're like bored on your phone. You're like bored on your phone. You're like out of apps to open. And you're like, oh, I'm just gonna open the fantasy app.
No, that's so underrated, because then you like read something and then you'll be like, oh, I like this guy, and then you like look at someone else's roster and you'll be like, oh, I like this guy.
Then I'll just like look at like all the other teams.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's so good until like week 5, and then everyone's hurt, and then you're starting like fucking Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. You're like, oh wait, this is why I hate this shit.
Oh my god, it's so like. Listen, I've never been addicted to crack, but
this is the closest.
This is the closest I can get, because I literally like will be like a kid about ready for like summer vacation when it gets closer. Like you're marking the calendar, and it's like, dude, holy shit, I am 6 days away from NFL football.
Here's the next question: fantasy football draft or week 1? What gets you hornier?
The draft.
Yeah, right.
The draft for like your big league.
Your big league, you just start fucking everyone else. Like you just get in a room and start just like jacking off with like 10 other people. Like it's kind of crazy. Whereas like week 1, you guys are just like, yay. Like the draft, you guys are. It's like a business deal. Like you get in there and you get really fucking serious for a little bit, and then afterwards you all like shake hands. You're like, all right, good luck this year.
Yeah, and then like you're looking at your friend across the room, just like over your computer screen. And you're making like a face at them. And they're like, don't do it.
Yeah, no, then they draft someone terrible. You're like, yeah, that's the best.
My God. Dude, to me, it's like it's like you haven't eaten all day and you go to like Chili's and you're so fucking hungry, and then you get those chips and salsa and you're like, these are so fucking good. And then you get your Southwest egg rolls or whatever you fucking get, and you're like, oh my God, this is better than anything on earth. That's kind of how the draft is for me. The draft is the chips and salsa, where you're like, wow, this is so fucking good. And then when week 1 comes around, I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever.
And then for like a week before the draft, like you see your friend and you just look at each other and you say, the draft.
Yeah, no, that's the best. Yeah.
And then after the draft, you're like, how good is my team? Like, my team's so good.
Like, no, then everyone's like, your team sucks. And then they're like, my team's the best.
Or also in like the week building up to the draft, like you'll be in like a group text and 2 of your friends are arguing. And then randomly you just say, wow, the draft. And they're like, wow.
Yeah. You remind them what really matters.
All right, ready? You ready now? The draft or the draft order?
The draft.
No, it's definitely the draft. But the draft order is crazy too.
Yeah.
It's like you're sitting there in that little room beforehand, and then you're just like, it's like counting down. You're like, what the fuck pick am I gonna get? Like, what's about to happen here? Like,
they've done such a good job of like just making us crack addicts with that shit.
Dude, the hour beforehand after you get your pick is just like fucking torture. It's like, 38 minutes still, dude. Like, come on, like, let's hurry this up. Like,
do you ever go down the rabbit hole of like what makes us so drawn to football? What makes us so drawn to sports as like males, as human males? Why are we so drawn to it?
Not prehistoric, but that's like ancient. Like, there's always been like
the
fucking
Greeks loved it, dude. They took that shit so
They
seriously.
had that game where they hit the ball in their hip through the hoop or whatever the fuck. Like, they had that shit. Like,
that was some Mayan shit, but yeah, that too.
Whatever the fuck, like they were just like there's always been shit, and I bet they were betting on that shit. They're like, I know this team's winning tonight. Like they definitely were saying that shit. Like,
I think the Greeks were betting on their sports quite a bit.
They're losing like a bunch of bread that was supposed to feed their family. They're betting on.
Yeah, they come home. They're like, honey, where's the food? He's like, the other team won tonight. Like,
actually, they didn't have any.
They were all out.
It's just so fucking good. But going back to soccer though, I will say between the Copa and Euro tournaments, the distinction between skill is so broad. Like when I was watching, because like the way it was, you would watch the Euros in the morning, and then in the early afternoon, and then at night you would watch the Copa. It was two wildly different things.
It's like drinking a glass of wine versus being blackout drunk on like Coors Light. Like, it was like, that's literally what it was. It's like very elegant for fucking the Euros, and then you watch the Copa Americas, and you're like, these teams are garbage compared to what I just watched earlier.
Dude, like so sloppy. There's dudes flying everywhere. There's so many fouls. It's insane.
I was just gonna say, people want to break legs in the Copa America. Like, that's literally their goal.
They're fighting in the fucking crowd. Like, that shit was nuts.
That was nuts. That was really ridiculous.
That was fucking crazy, dude.
That was crazy.
And then, like, going back to, like, the fucking Argentina-Morocco game today, that shit was fucking crazy. Was that today or was that yesterday? I thought it was today.
Today. 15 minutes of extra time?
What the fuck were they on, bro?
I wasn't watching any of it, and then I saw someone post about it, and then all the comments on the tweet were just like, oh yeah, just play till Argentina wins. That's how it always.
But then they didn't. It was like they were like, oh, and the other thing too is like it was 15 minutes of literally just like injuries and shit. Like it wasn't even like a long delay for anything. It was literally normal stoppage time for injuries and like time wasting. And it's like, okay, maybe we should fix this. It's like 15 minutes, dude. When it's like 8 minutes, I'm like, holy shit. But it's 15.
That's insane. That's insane.
Someone else commented too. They were like 15 minutes. What the fuck happened? Was there a war on the field?
Bro, and then Argentina scores, and then there is an actual war on the field, and then they're like, okay, we have to suspend this. And then they come back 2 hours later to play like 5 minutes of the game. They played like 5 minutes. They come back 2 hours later, and they say they disallow the goal because they had 2 hours to look at it. And Morocco was like complaining while the delay was happening. They were like, that was offsides. And then they went back and looked.
Actually?
Yeah, so in the 90 fucking, I don't know,
105th?
In the 100 and I don't remember what minute it was that Argentina tied it up. They go
the 105th, technically.
Yeah, so they go back and they so after that happens, people are throwing shit on the field, whatever. They delay the game. Then while the delay is happening, Morocco is like complaining to the ref saying like that was offsides. You have to go look at it. They come back 2 hours later. The ref goes to VAR, looks at it. They call it offsides, call off the goal. They play 5 minutes of soccer, and the game ends 2-1 Morocco. Like, what
wow, I did not know that.
What the fuck was that? I was like, how did they?
I have to look up video on that later. That's insane.
Because like it was offsides.
I saw the France and U.S. game, but I didn't hear about that.
It was offsides, but I mean, like. I don't know if like there's like a statute of limitations on these things. Like if you could go back 2 hours later and look and be like, oh shit, we actually missed this.
Well, did they ever kick off? Do you know if they ever kicked off after, or did it just get stopped right after the goal?
I don't remember if it got kicked off after the goal. I think it did, and then they just started throwing shit.
If it did, that should not have been allowed. But
I don't remember specifically. I was watching like the highlights of it, but that was the people that started throwing like fucking bottles and fucking I don't even know what the fuck fireworks and shit onto the field, and it's like holy shit. And then they were like, all right, we'll suspend this. They take the fans out, and then they come back and play 2 hours later. It's like, what was going on in that 2 hours? Can't you just like get the fans out and then just finish the game? Or even better, how about we just call the game? How about you just be like, there's only 2 minutes left. Let's just call the game. Why did they have to delay it and then come back? Like they came back and then they showed everyone like warming up and stretching and shit to play 3 minutes. It was like the wildest thing ever. It was so crazy. I was like, what the fuck, man? That's FIFA for you, dude.
Literally.
UEFA wouldn't have done that. FIFA is the most corrupt shit ever. UEFA would have never done that.
That's wild.
In the Euros too, Spain winning, dude. Spain looked fucking good.
Spain looked like the best team all tournament.
They just had like a different way of playing than like they normally do, and it was very fun to watch.
Way more direct than. And I usually shit on Spain. I'm probably top 2 Spain haters in all the world. I hated the way they played the last 3 tournaments. In this tournament, though I saw them play against Italy, and my mind was completely flipped. I said this is the best. That out of all the teams I've seen, I said it after that game. I said all the teams I've seen, this is easily the best looking team. I think they probably
against Italy.
Against Italy, they played great against Italy.
What? Dude, Italy played them tough. Donnarumma had a fucking great game that
They
game.
had like 7 shots on target in the first half. Nico Williams was destroying DiMarco or whoever was on the outside. Destroying, bro. Both their wingers were great. Their interplay in the midfield was great. Their back line played very well. Cucurella had a very good tournament. Basically everywhere they were amazing. Like there wasn't really a weak spot on that team.
It was cool. I like when Spain does well. I'm a Spain believer. I'm a Spain backer.
You definitely have teams you hate, like Portugal. You hate.
No, but like, dude, I used to hate Germany. Now, like, I see Germany, and I'm like, all right, let's get a little spicy here.
Which surprises me because
sometimes I flip on teams, but like, I'm a never Englander, definitely a never Francer.
All right, you said like, I understand they didn't win, but they got to the final. You can't say that my pick was that bad. That's what I said before the tournament. Like,
no. They definitely could have won. England looked good. England looked good at the end.
They didn't win. I get it. Like I get that's the next thing coming out of your mouth. But like they got to the final. Sorry, they didn't win.
Game? What was it against? Oh no, I'm thinking of the Portugal game. The one against either Slovenia or Slovakia that went to PKs.
Slovenia.
Yeah, was that Portugal?
No, that was England.
That was England. Yeah, they had that was England. And you can just see, like, they played them so tough. And they had, in extra time, Slovenia had one opportunity where they should have scored, and it should have been the game. But they go to PKs, and you can just see how much more experience the England side had in those situations.
Yeah.
I don't think Slovenia made anything.
Oh, that's the Portugal game you're talking about.
Oh,
yeah, that was the Portugal game. They didn't make a single PK.
But I mean, same. Everything I said still goes. Just different team.
Yeah, I think Spain. They have to be the favorites going into the World Cup. The way that they played, it was dominant. The way that they played, like they definitely owned possession in every single game that they played. They never really had any scary times.
About the teams. Think about the teams they went through too. They went through Germany at home. They went through They went through England, obviously. Who was the other team that they played? And France, right?
Are you serious?
Because France
they beat all the best European teams easily. Not
France
easily, but they beat them all.
France didn't look that good.
France looked horrible.
Mbappe never really showed up.
They got to figure out the front line, and Rabiot needs to get as far away from the field as possible. He's fucking horrendous. He's one of the worst soccer players I've ever seen. And he gets selected every tournament, and I don't understand it.
And then, England, they had a couple scary times. Like, they were...
Well, they should have lost to Slovenia, like we were just saying. But
they had a flair for the dramatic in every single fucking game. They feels like they had to win in the most dramatic way possible when they really shouldn't have to. And then like they finally start playing like a dominant game. And I mean, they could have beat Spain. They really could have.
Oh yeah. But I mean, they're England, they're the Cowboys, but yeah, they definitely could have. Like,
obviously, a lapse to allow the Spain's second goal. I mean, that was just a terrible defensive. Who was it? Kyle Walker that just kind of, or was it Kyle Walker? Like someone just let him run straight through the middle, and like no one really picked him up. And or was it Declan Rice, or I forget who it was.
But they just kind of.
England's to a point where, like, especially in these big games, it just seems like when they get close to scoring a goal and they're like deep in the box, they get too timid because nobody wants to be the guy that fucks up.
Yeah.
Because they're so known for that.
Well, I also think too, Southgate's out. He stepped down, and I think Harry Kane can't play in the next tournament. I think it's just like, we've done this enough, Harry. Like, your curse or your hex, whatever you got going on, like we gotta get you out of here. Like,
which I mean, I don't know how much of the blame goes on Southgate. Like, I feel like he was making some very good substitutions. He would make substitutions and they would score. It's like
the whole point was, why was Cole Palmer not starting the whole time, or why was Ollie Watkins not starting the whole time? Yes, I understand those people came on and scored, but at the same time, they could have been playing for 60 minutes before that too. Like,
that's true.
Cole Palmer was probably top 2 or 3 in the Premier League last year. He should have 100% been playing and starting in that team. Phil Foden played horrible all Euros, and Cole Palmer should have had his spot, personally. And I like Phil Foden.
I kind of disagree. I feel like towards the end, he was playing really well. Phil Foden was.
He had better last couple games, but the first 4 or 5 games, he was puke. He couldn't do anything. He looked horrible. So...
Yeah, I mean, I think Phil Foden was all around the net the last, I think maybe the semifinal game and the quarterfinal game.
And he's still trying to score, though. He was all over the place and trying to score. Hit the
ball
like 3 times.
But, I mean, I think that for as long as they keep saying it's coming home, they will lose. If they stop saying that, they will probably win. They need to stop saying that and being so annoying in their fan base, and I think that they'll be fine.
So, Antonio, who's winning the World Cup?
Los Tequinos España, la quinceañera.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do you got, Sal?
I mean, dude, last time they won the Euro, or before they won the World Cup in 2010, they won the Euros right before that.
It feels like it has to be an American team in my mind, like South or North America.
I mean, like, does Brazil like just come back and remind everybody?
Brazil was the name I had.
Brazil's the nation.
Sal loves Brazil.
I
don't think I think that.
Does Argentina go back to back?
Not without Messi. If Messi's playing, maybe.
I think he will. I think he'll be at least a part of the team. I don't think he's going to be the central.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that kind of injury when he's that old, dude, like, that sucks.
Yeah, my pick is Brazil, and I think I might have picked Brazil last World Cup, but I feel more confident about them this World Cup. I think their squad is actually built for it.
They're bad.
They're not bad. What are you talking about?
They're bad. They were right there in the FIFA rankings as the U.S. were. Right next to the U.S.
Oh, Brazil?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Weren't they ranked like 11th or something?
Who, Brazil?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought they were ranked higher than that.
8th, maybe?
Maybe.
Probably something like that.
There's no way they're top 5. If they're top 5, that shit is rigged.
Wait, so who'd you say, Noel? Oh, you said Spain too?
Yeah, I think Spain will.
I can see Germany. Like,
I can see clearly now that the rain is gone.
I could see the Netherlands making a run at it too. They impressed me a lot.
Oh, I like that. So next podcast is AFC or NFC predictions, or we have to wait and see.
I don't know. How do we choose? I feel like we always start with the AFC. Should we start with the NFC next time?
I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 5 and
7.
Yes. And if one of you guesses it right, then we're doing AFC first.
3.
5.
4. You guys both suck.
All right, we'll do NFC first.
NFC first, then AFC. Switch it up a little bit.
Wow, Brazil is 5th. That's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely thought they were higher than like 10th. So, is it in person next time or to be determined?
We can't do in person. I don't have a setup for it.
That's cut off.
Yeah, I don't have a setup for it.
You don't have the facilities for that?
I'll have the facilities for that, big man.
Maybe me and Sal will come together in location. I like the the prediction ones are fun. So
I like being able to look over at Antonio too. Just like Antonio will say something sometimes, and then I have to like give him a quick glance. Like, did you really just say that?
Interactiveness might be fun for that episode.
But maybe if we do it Zoom, maybe we'll be really good. You know what I mean? Maybe it was the switch up that we needed.
I mean, we haven't. So, all right. So to be fair, our preseason predictions are actually very good. Our regular season predictions
are they though?
Yes. Go back and look at the records.
Okay.
Go back and look at the records. Last season, one of us did really good. I think it might have been me, but the other two still had like very good predictions. There's some where we got like completely wrong, like obviously, but the preseason predictions are typically very good. The regular season predictions is where we go a little astray, but we're normally still around 500. It's not like we're like fucking 20 games below 500. Like we'll do pick 3 and everyone's like 500 or a little bit better. Like that's normally how it goes. So I can't really sit here and say we're terrible. We're average.
No, I've never said we're terrible. I feel like there's weeks where we are terrible, but then we usually even it out with a really good week.
It's just funny because the weeks we sit here and we're like, I fucking am the best picker ever. We'll go like 0-16, but then we'll get in and we'll be like, all right, I don't know about it this week. Then we'll go like 13-3 and we'll be like, oh, okay, now I'm the best picker ever. And then I go 0-16. Like it's like that just cycle over and over again.
My favorite is when Sal will show up and go, I love the board this week. and he'll go 2-14.
That goes one of two ways.
That's how you know some crazy shit's about to happen.
Yeah, no, I either do horrible that week or I do amazing that week. If I ever come and say I love the board, you either full fade me or fully back me. There's no in between. Because I either know exactly what's gonna happen or I'm just dog shit, like fucking dog poo poo.
Tread lightly when you have a pick of the year is when fully fade.
Well, no, I'm 1-1. I'm 1-1 technically.
Or locks of the year, whatever it is.
Lock of the year, Bills plus 3.5 covered last year. They lost by 3. Packers minus 3.5 was not my best pick.
Yeah.
Are you getting like mugged in the parking lot, Antonio?
No, there's a ladybug and I couldn't tell if it was on the inside. No, but there was like a car that drove near me and I thought it was top for a second. And I was like, are you really gonna tell me like what are you doing here?
Yeah, why did you like take your phone down like you're doing something wrong?
No, because it got dark over here.
Oh, it did.
But I tried to get into the light more.
All right, so rendezvous next week. NFC.
Rendezvous next week.
Sounds like a date.
Oh, show.
All right, gentlemen.
I'll have a better area to sit in.
Maybe me and you'll be together.
Or me and Sal will.
Yeah. Maybe we'll meet up.
Yeah, why are you always in the car, dude? You want to do it at home?
I mean, I was in Agawam and I was leaving Matt's at like 7:15, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm not gonna get home before." They want to start. Right. So packed in the parked on the side by Geisler's where nobody's parked.
Oh, people get mugged there all the time.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
It's like Antonio doing the mugging.
Oh, that's funny.
I was just saying, people doing podcasts get mugged in that parking lot.
Redheaded kids that do podcasts in the parking lot usually get mugged.
Yeah.
All right, gents.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
See you later.
Do it next time.